Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. We're so happy to have you here in person with us tonight. We don't know how much longer we have, Elijah, so we're going to enjoy it while we have it and show up in person. And my name is Kathy Hyatt. I'm the club president. Welcome to all of the new members and welcome to our returning members. For those that don't know, we have restrooms over here on this side as well as right inside the restaurant. There are restrooms on both sides of those curtains over there. Feel free to get up whenever you need to. And I am going to turn it over to Amber and get us started with our mindfulness moment, which has been one of the most popular things we do to get us all in our right frame of mind.
You get together often with your sororities.
Folks on Zoom, if everyone can stay on mute for now.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. How are we doing tonight? Good to see everyone's face here in person after a big, busy weekend. What do you? I do. You do that? That's better right there. Thank you. So welcome everyone. I'm gonna ask everyone to take a brief moment away from their delicious food so that we can do our mindfulness moment and really kind of center ourselves, releasing the busyness of the weekend that we had before us for those who are able to attend the No Kings March. And also here, if you were able to make it early or during tonight's event, if you are writing the postcards. So we're gonna do a small little physical activity. So you can stand up or do it seated. You have the choice to do that, but if you're gonna do it seated, you wanna kind of scoot far back away from the table. And if you stand up, goes for everyone at home too. Just have a nice little area in which you can move a little bit. And again, just a real short little release to get ourselves ready to sit here for a while too, right? Bring the energy. The food's gonna tire us down a little bit. So everyone just find a focus point off the tip of your nose, or if you're comfortable, you can close your eyes. Relax your arms down by your sides or rest them in your lap if you're seated. And just begin to breathe in and out through the nose. Just follow the breath for a moment or let the breath find you. Breathing in, aware of breathing in. Breathing out, aware of breathing out. And even notice that small moment of in between before you breathe in again or before you let it all go. And then from now, we're going to start to just roll those shoulders a little bit, nice and slow back. Lots of upper body work holding those signs this weekend, just in general. If you're stuck in traffic or working on your computer too much, going the other way. Notice any tension that you might be feeling there. And this is an opportunity to think of something, shrug, inhale. Think of something that annoyed you or you've been kind of holding on to, and let out a shrug as you, or a sigh as you release the shrug. Let that go. One more time. Shrug. Maybe bring to mind someone who annoyed the hell out of you this week, including 50. And release. Because we're not going to let him ruin our night. So from there, we're going to work on those hands just a little bit real quick. So I'm going to prop this under here and make it work. So the first exercise, just kind of circle your wrists a little bit. No, okay. I want you to do it. And then you're going to go like this. And this has actually been scientifically proven to help lower blood pressure. So take a big breath in again. And let out that sigh. So next time you see a toddler throwing a fit, don't judge. Just realize that they're actually doing what our bodies naturally responded to do. We've been taught to suppress, to hold on, to not show face and all these things, and that gets stuck inside. Kids haven't learned that yet, right? So they're like, and science has proven that they were onto something there. Okay, so next, if you're having trouble sleeping, we're gonna take our finger to the base of our thumb, our pointer finger to the base of our thumb. Now, this one's gonna be interesting. And you'll notice how some of your the other fingers kind of come forward when you do that, right? Like they don't stay back. So you'll take the hand, the opposite hand, and you're gonna push those fingers back slightly, trying to bring them back into alignment with the hand. Oh, and you wanna try to hold that. We're gonna hold it for 10 seconds this time. Take a big breath in. Relax your shoulders as you breathe out. Release that and shake it out. We gotta do it to the other side. Now, we really want to do this for 1 minute a piece on each side, going back and forth 3 to 5 times. So that's your homework, especially if you're waking up in the middle of the night or restless. So point your finger to the other hand, take those other fingers, point your finger to the base of the thumb, and then take the other fingers and push those back. Oh, and try not to break your wrist like I did. Keep it straight and move the fingers back. So we're trying to line those fingers back up to the palm that came forward. Big breath in and let it out. And then give yourself a little rub in that area where it was just all tight, loosening that up. There's this interesting thing called fascia that we all have, and it's this thin layer that lies between our skin and our muscle fiber. And it actually is like a little lubricant for our body systems. And so some of that tight stuff we feel, and when we have TMJ, a lot of that is fascia buildup. So that's a fun little fact. Go Google fascia when you get home if you're bored. Okay, so with that, we're gonna just shake it out in the hands and legs. You could just drop the heels into the ground if you're one of those ones who's in the chair. Again, just shaking it all off. And if you're standing, go into a full little heel drop, really feel all that tension release. Knowing that we are rooted in this moment, I'm gonna leave us with this quote. So may our, excuse me, all the way down here, I had saved it. Okay, so roll your shoulders back, take a big breath in. Exhale, let it go. Look around, take a smile, look at those on the screen up there and recognize the community that we have around us. And inhale again, say, I honor the effort, internally or externally. And exhale, soften into the support of our community because we do a lot of good work and this is a safe space. So thank you so much for showing up for yourself and others.
Thank you so much. That's Amber K. Niatoa. She is our external vice president, internal vice president. I always get that mixed up. So I will now entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Second. Any objections to the agenda? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. And we are so lucky tonight to have with us in person the Assembly member from the 78th Congressional District, Assembly District, I'm sorry, Christopher Ward.
Well, thank you, Kathy, and thank you, everybody. It's great to be back at Elijah's in person, and welcome to those that are with us virtually here tonight. Very excited to be back with you to be able to talk a little bit about, I guess, the Sacramento report, an update, right? It's our legislative recess where every fall we sort of pause in mid-September until the end of the new year, and that gives me full time here in San Diego to circulate amongst our community groups, our town hall, our town councils, our business associations, a lot of local officials, really to take stock of like where things are at. Because I think, as many of you know, for almost most of the weeks at the beginning of the year, I'm up in Sacramento Mondays to Thursdays. So I miss you on a Monday night often, but I'm glad to be here with you in person. Kathy, thank you. And Susan and everybody else for organizing this, for allowing me to be here tonight. It was a year. It was a year that we were all definitely stressed and living together and trying to hold up our values and really try to defend against a lot of the threats that were coming at us. And boy, did it come on fast and early in January. And we know that. We've been living it through it together. But really, from the chair that I was able to sit in up at the state capitol, dealing with so many of those uncertainties, a lot of those very direct policy threats that were coming out at us, attacking our immigrant community, members of our LGBTQ community, women, service members, on and on and on. And the threats that we have had coming at us now for community funding, for healthcare, for education, on and on and on, have been very disruptive. We have really employed our Attorney General to carry the banter, along with a lot of other attorneys general from across the country as well, just like we had to in the first Trump administration, to make sure that when the law is broken, when the Constitution is violated, when appropriated funds that Congress says should be coming back to California, that we are fighting for that money. And to date, we have been largely successful with a lot of that. But of course, this is a new administration. This is a new go around that they're trying. And will they actually cut that check? Everything is in flux, a lot of uncertainties, a lot of unpredictable behavior, but we're doing our best to make sure, one, that we're not bending the knee, and we're going to make sure that we're standing up for California laws and values, that we have states' rights to be able to employ, and that two, that we, like I said, that we're fighting for every nickel that deserves to come back into our community, because we have so many things that are challenging us, and we've got to make sure that we are getting our fair share. On the legislative front, I think that you all know, and I've had a chance to report to this club before, sort of how things go. And I was really happy that 9 of my bills were able to get to the governor's desk. He signed 8 of those. So I missed one on a technicality this year, but I understand what some of his department had challenges with in that veto. And we're committed to be able to reintroduce that, correct that, and get it done, because that one actually would be able to help unlock some bureaucratic barriers that are preventing home sharing experiences for low-income seniors. Something we desperately need is more solutions to be able to help people with housing options. And so that's one that I think that we can re-engage and employ. But without going through all of them, I'll let you know a couple of my favorites. One is actually a bill that's going to be able to require cities, if they're taking forever to be able to issue you a building permit for the smaller stuff, right? If you're doing a remodel, you want an ADU, you're building a new home, things that are, very, very low impact. The common experience that we're seeing, and I know reasons why, is that things are taking forever for anything to even get a plan check done. But we have this whole cadre of professionals out there, some of whom are actually employed by cities, to be able to do that and look against the city ordinance and the building code and make sure all the boxes are checked. And so what AB 253 now signed into law will allow that homeowner to be able to, if a city is taking longer than 30 days, use one of these professionals, run the plan check, submit that report to the city, which would have a 14-day shot clock to be able to start your project. And so this is something I hear just from a lot of other neighbors, that we've taken the status quo, is that you're trying to get something done and it can take you 6 or 9 months and you just have to wait. Well, now there's going to be a relief valve for a lot of that simpler stuff, which will allow our city to better focus on some of the more intensive sort of mid-scale or downtown high density residential development that we want a higher standard of review for public health and safety concerns. Another one that I was happy to be able to work on is actually definitely responding to the Trump administration, AB 82, is to make sure that people that are seeking healthcare, and in particular gender affirming care and reproductive care, it's a cadre of protections and provisions that are going to make sure that individuals seeking a lot of that legally protected healthcare services are safeguarded in their privacy. So really limiting the data sharing that can go on, and especially with out-of-state warrants or out-of-state interests that are coming in here, trying to be able to access information from patients, from doctors, from health plans. We want to make sure that you're safeguarded and that you feel no barrier to be able to access the healthcare that you're rightfully entitled to. And then finally, I'll mention AB 368 was one that was brought to me by, if anybody knows or relates with San Diego 350, there's a number of 350 environmental organizations out there, a lot of other climate interests, that were looking at something in new building types that is called passive house construction. So it's kind of a new architectural philosophy about how you better envelope the house and use certain materials for energy efficiency. But it turns out there's actually a secondary benefit, which is really important. They also tend to be incredibly wildfire resilient. So they protect because embers aren't able to get into that house in a way that actually has at similar or cheaper costs associated with it, but it also allows for significant energy savings over the lifetime of that house for that homeowner. And so thinking of a twofer there, actually a threefer, the wildfire protections, the energy savings, and better, more modern standards. AB 368 now is going to direct the California Energy Commission to be able to look at passive house standards as for something in lieu of Title 24 construction, which a lot of those mandates are adding a lot of costs. So there were a lot of themes that we were working on this year to address certain costs of living, to be able to work on protecting your privacy and other areas of budget support to the extent that we could, to be able to help San Diego. I fought really hard. One of my assignments is on a budget subcommittee, and it covers a wide jurisdiction. But we're always now this is my second year that we've been in a tussle with the governor over housing and homelessness dollars, which we desperately need. And of course, we want to make sure that they're maximally deployed, that we're having as best effect that we can out of those, and increasing our accountability and expectations for those. Yes. But you can't be accountable to zero, which he tried to zero out some of these important affordable housing and homelessness response dollars. And we had to fight as a legislature to claw much of that back in our final iteration. And then, of course, like I said, we've just been constantly in response mode to the growing threats that are out there. One of the final actions that we had a huge collective action out there was to reform what's called cap and trade system. So this is a market-based solution where polluting corporations do pay into a fund if they rise in their emissions levels above a certain threshold, and we repurpose that for community projects. That was set to expire in the next couple of years, so we took this moment to try to really recalibrate a lot of that to today's sort of known issues, and set that forward for another 20 years to guarantee that we would have additional climate support for a lot of our communities from this source of funds. We continue to be, I think, incredibly concerned about our civil rights. One of the things that is what we call our 2-year bills. We're in the middle of a 2-year session, but I introduced a package of bills to be able to work on protecting your data privacy. One of those, and they all needed a little bit more work. And one of them actually got completely mangled, would be a good word, in a Senate committee. And so I paused that one because I wasn't going to send the governor something that was not actually going to do what I set out to do. But one thing, but that bill did was to be able to help to define and prohibit something called surveillance pricing, which not a lot of people, if you haven't heard of it, maybe you've seen a couple of heads nod, maybe you have heard of it. It's a newer thing where companies are realizing that they can access and link to information from your cell phone or your IP address on your home computer and really start to use a lot of those data points to define who you are and modulate the price that you would pay for a good or a service. And it sounds completely foreign because we are used to one price on the shelf there should be what it costs for that pack of diapers for everybody to go get. If you post the price, that's the price that you pay for that good. But what we're finding is that you might have a profile online of a single mom, and if you're trying to expedite something because you're about to run out of diapers and you need it tomorrow, might pay a higher price for that. Uber, if you ever had to call one of those rideshare services, this is another thing, doesn't have to do with demographics, but it has to do with your battery life on your phone. And let's say your battery life is all the way down at 5%, it's about to die. Well, Uber knows that, and so they'll charge you a higher price because you're not going to reject it and search around and everything. You got to click, you got to connect. You need to get that car so you can get home before your battery dies. And so this connection here between using your personalized information, right, electronic information that is specific to you, and connecting that with a pricing scheme, I feel like completely violates consumer protection interests. And it turns out it's wildly popular. Nobody wants to have to pay more for anything, much less because they are who they are. And so we are one of 5 states that have been trying to work on this because the FTC in Washington is completely gutted. And so we're trying to be able to set a model out there that I'm going to reintroduce and work on some things that I think that we can get across the finish line in the Senate. Another one that I know is probably important to everybody here as well is protecting your geolocation information. So we're all walking around with a phone in our pockets. It's pinging where we're at, right? Some of your apps might be turned on and sort of like, it's just like capturing like all these data points. Well, there's been an emerging industry of something called large data brokers, right? Who basically can completely take a lot of your information and repackage it for whatever purpose they want. They can sell that information to another third party. Often this might be used for marketing purposes, which, might have some positive benefit. But I do not like that somebody can start to be able to access my or yours or anybody's information to really discover your habits. When do you go to Starbucks in the morning? Where do you drop the kids off? What church do you go to? Are you near a reproductive health facility? Are you at a protest? In a protest zone, because this is exactly where we know that they can also use large data brokers to be able to sell information to the federal government. And so we have a bill, it's AB 322, that we need to work on more with our Attorney General to be able to get that very difficult but technical language right to make sure that geolocation data is not for sale and that you should not be completely, without your knowledge, giving up your information for somebody else's use, especially in this case, the federal government's. And so that's another area that I'm working on. These tech bills have been really, I sit on one of my assigned committees is the Privacy and Consumer Protection Committee. So we're seeing a growing body of things to be able to safeguard against AI interests and be able to help protect your information because we like the innovation. It offers some conveniences and modern new ways about, sort of enjoying the things that you enjoy, but it shouldn't come at a compromise to other things that you care very deeply, your safety, your liberty, your freedoms, and your privacy. And so these are sort of the things that I continue to be able to work on. In addition, taking some new ideas right now. So as I'm talking to a lot of my community groups who are open for business and soliciting many of those ideas when I go back in January, my capital staff is already working right now on a couple of things that are already coming at us that we want to research and we want to be able to try to put into motion next year, because we've got a lot of things that I care about, we care about, and we want to be able to put into law. I want to thank all of you that were active last weekend and got to go to the No Kings March. Again, kudos to you. Of course, we know this. There was no problems. Everybody was there protesting peacefully and exercising their right to say what's on their mind. And it was that collective power that reminds us all that we're not alone, that there's a huge community out there that is hungry for a change, that is hungry for democracy. And I appreciate right now that you're taking a little activity here tonight to write those postcards and to be able to follow up a lot of that energy with actual positive action. So I'll spend the rest of the time that you have for me, maybe answering any questions, but I want to thank you again for continuing to be one of the best and most active clubs in our county. I guess the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the kind words. Let's go to Lori.
Thank you, Assemblymember, showing up tonight. Midway Rising lost another court battle over the height limit.
Okay.
They're insisting they can move forward because state law provides some exemptions. And I know you're no longer chair of housing, but given that that area is, having worked and taught there for many years, it really is sinking. I call it midway sinking, not midway rising. Can the state override the way that Midway Rising is claiming and advocating people to contact the city council for them to approve something that the state court has said violates the law?
So I can talk generally because I haven't followed exactly what that ruling. I haven't really studied the news that's out there. And I think that there's two things at play. One is the city should still be working on projects that conform to Proposition E. Was that the height limit, I guess, or the
Measure.
ballot measures? Right.
That they didn't do enough of an environmental review to put that before the voters in 2022.
And then it was put before it again, right? They did do the environmental review. Am I mistaken?
That was the second bite at
The second bite at the end, right? Okay. So normally, I guess there would be a development program there, and I don't know what the court ruled was inconsistent with the law, but I would say that anything that is attached to like a state density bonus or some of the other programs that can be employed is separate from what the baseline city ordinance would be able to do. So in other words, if you had something that offered a certain zoning capacity for 40 units and you were able to get enough affordability in there that increased your density 20% or 50%, that would be allowed to be on top of it as well, separate from the base city ordinance. I think that both the voter initiative as well as what the city has to work with and the basis for its approval is limited to what it is. It is limited to the summation of the base city ordinance plus anything that qualifies for state bonuses on top of that. But I'm sorry, I don't know the specifics of the court ruling and what they violated. It's complicated. It is. We'll look into it though. Yeah. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Chris. I just wanted to let you know that people on our Zoom,
Yes.
and Craig and some other members were clapping and they were very happy. I think is it Masada's 350.org?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That was one of them. But I have another question.
Yes.
Just this night, the resolutions committee met and they passed a resolution that will be presented tomorrow at the Central Committee about the automatic license plate readers.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not sure of the exact wording of the resolution. John has that exactly. And there has been a flock cannot be trusted. They cannot be trusted. And in other places, they have pushed to get it shut down.
Mm-hmm.
The automatic license plate readers shut down. So because they share them with ICE. They say they're going to do one thing, and then they're okay. We agree not to do this, but then it's like whack-a-mole. They do something else. So it's very dangerous for all of us to have ourselves tracked.
Right. I
All
agree.
of us. The question is, how do you feel about that? I'm putting you on the spot, Chris. I'm
Please do.
sorry.
I got a glimmer of good news on this front. I feel very much in line with, I think, your feelings on this. Both the misuse of our personal, well, first of all, I don't like to be tracked, and I'm working on those issues too. Second of all, we have reason to be very concerned about who is using our information, who has access to it, and whether or not it could be used inappropriately. And we know that there's information out there where even some law enforcement are inappropriately accessing what their former ex-wife did or something, right? Yes. There was a bill this year, SB 274, which got a lot of attention by my colleague, Senator Sabrina Cervantes, that would have prohibited the retention and distribution or transmission of any license plate data information more than 60 days after it was captured. I think she wanted something a little bit tighter. She was willing to negotiate. Anyway, I voted for that. We passed that. We got to the governor's desk. He vetoed it. Primarily, his veto message centered on the potential for law enforcement concerns that somehow a crime would not be solved or that information could be out there, and they wanted more tools out there. So I've got to imagine the senator who, again, feels as strongly as we do about protecting our privacy there is going to go back and take a look at that. I'm happy to talk with her as well about ways that, we can get that done with very, at a minimum, very clear restrictions on how that data is to be managed and when appropriate, destroyed.
Good evening,
Hi.
Member Ward. Thank you for being here. David Milroy. I had a question. One of the first things you mentioned was facilitating building permits for people who want to do little at-home projects. If we can do that, can we also do something? I'm sure you're aware of the housing shortage.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way we can keep corporations from buying up half of San Diego
Yeah,
and doing these same little tricks? If we can control families adding a bedroom, can we control companies taking over houses?
we
Thank
can
you.
if we pass a law. I had a bill 2 years ago that was trying to prevent the bulk sale of properties to corporate ownerships, right? There's a new phenomena out there that it's a trending practice called build to rent. When you're building new homes, but you sell them in bulk and sometimes at a discount to one corporate entity that then turns around and rents it. So let's say you're building a 100-unit suburb, right? And then they immediately in one transaction take all that off the market. Well, that's 100 families that can't get into that home, right? And you're just basically building out more and more forever rental units, right? And there's no place to go to buy. And that frustrates me because we need both. I want some rental stock, but I also want to make sure that when you're approving, new housing opportunities, which I think most city council members across the state think that they're trying to give people, new doors to open, places to buy, that is something that at least Californians should have the first crack at, right? So that was one bill I did. We had another bill my colleague did that voted for it, that prevented a sale of single family homes to corporations. Both of these bills got out of the Assembly. We got stuck in the Senate. And that sometimes happens in that second house, but it is an area of interest that, is growing, especially when you look at those large transactions to a BlackRock or to some of the other major corporations, right? Because then they start to take up more and more of the stock that's out there right now, which means that they are monopolizing and in control of what the rental prices should be. And this is getting really out of hand. So we'll keep looking at strategies. It becomes a little tricky, but I'm all in. So I need more friends like me. Yes. Hi. Hey,
Hi.
how's it going?
Thank you for being here, Assemblymember Ward. I have a question for you about Assembly Bill 715,
Yeah.
which I guess was somewhat amended, but still does not leave out the possibility that the International Holocaust Reliance Act could be used as a definition for anti-Semitism with this new anti-Semitism project coordinator, I guess it is.
Yeah.
I think that's a concern because really Israel, the International Court of Justice, which is part of the United Nations,
Yeah.
has called Israel an apartheid state. So this bill is essentially, if they end up using that definition, which seems like at this point they could,
Yeah.
that it would be we'd be breaking that bill by criticizing Israel, even though it's an apartheid state.
So I know, there is for me an absolute, two things are true. One is that anti-Semitism, hating somebody because of who they are and their Jewish religion, is significantly on the rise in schools and in public spaces, and that is definitely supported by a lot of the data. All hate acts are on the rise right now against LGBTQ community members, against members of the Muslim community. But we do see, as if you look at it on a per capita basis, a very significant rise against Jewish students and Jewish families right now. And the fact that it's an offshoot of previous conversations around ethnic studies, that's not what this bill does, but an interest where it went in 715 as opposed to the previous bill was, can we at least start to focus on something that we can get better protections in code that support making sure that we don't have anti-Semitic environments. I see the distinction between attacking somebody or hating on somebody because of their religion and our issues with the state of Israel, which also have been aggressive. I am no fan of Netanyahu, and I think that there is a better and open conversation there. So 715 specifically is about making sure that we're raising a lot of those protections, and through a future coordinator now at the Department of Education, that we're going to have that focused attention to be able to address issues of anti-Semitism. But to be able to capture that, there was another bill, SB 48, that I was a principal co-author on, to make sure that we're not just getting a coordinator for anti-Semitism, but that 4 more coordinator positions are out there so that people can focus on how are we going to address other race, how are we going to address gender, how are we going to address issues for the gay and lesbian community, how are we going to address religious discrimination as a whole. Right, and that would be there as well too. And so I think because of that work on 715, we are coming out with a much broader focus of all of these areas of hate crime in our schools, and how to better make sure that we are having environments that no student, regardless of their race, religion, creed, or gender, or other characteristic, feels that they can't be a part of that community. Yes.
Meredith Pierce.
Hi, Meredith.
I had a question about the AI bills. I think that Governor Newsom vetoed one and passed like 1 or 2. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about why he vetoed the one. I think it was like overly broad, or they said. But I was curious how the legislature is keeping up with AI technology and like protecting kids, because it's moving so fast.
Right.
And like the data and just different anecdotal evidence is going to take time to catch up to it. But
Yep.
so I'm curious, like, how you stay ahead of that. I know kids already, I know social media and kids is already like a huge thing with their mental health. And now AI, you have like AI relationships and AI chatbots and all these things. And it seems like it's just like a train, like plowing through, and with all the advancements and things coming out.
Absolutely. Thank you for raising the issue, because it is a big focal issue, a growing issue for us. And what's so, if I can be honest amongst friends, what's so interesting about Lori, this part of the job, like right now, is this is a space that is so new to all of us. It's not like housing policy that's been on the books for 40 or 50 years. And we can kind of go back to prior research and, kind of think about how things, did or didn't happen. No, we're making this up as we're going along because it is just so new in our lives, but it invokes all of the threats and challenges and compromises, right, that we care, very deeply about. And what is especially difficult is that technology and AI and whatever's coming next is advancing at such a rate that it takes me, if I'm lucky, a year to like introduce a bill, get it through the process to the governor's desk, and for it to go into effect. A year from now, you could be sort of defining it and regulating it and sort of, working on that bill. Let's say you're lucky and that goes into effect, but the technology has now jumped over here that you're starting again next year to sort of update the state code and have the law keep up with the times. So it's a fascinating but an important one, which is why I'm glad to be a part of this committee. To answer your question, there were some bills that passed that are going to require a lot more disclosure about when things are using AI and putting information out on social media platforms or otherwise when something had been created from using AI information. So at least that there would be some distinction that something was AI generated, not actually a real photo, real video. There was one that I think got signed. I hope to God it did, because I think something you were alluding to, where chatbots now are coming in and have been shown to cause harm, especially to our youth, and providing information about how to commit suicide or do very horrible things to yourself, right? And there has not been a legal avenue to be able to hold them accountable, hold the chatbot creator or that company accountable for their product, which caused this harm. And so Steve Padilla, our senator from here in San Diego, carried that bill. It was very impactful. I know that got to the governor's desk, and I hope he did sign it into law. But there were other things that have fallen short, and it's this tension between, if I can think, what I'm hearing through the governor's lens, that we do have, and California is home to a lot of this innovation. So we are trying to be able to carry and help grow, I think, a lot of this technology, which is going to grow. We want to make sure that the safeguards are in place, right? And is the proposed law that we're putting in place a barrier such that that company is just going to pick up and move its operations somewhere else without these barriers? We don't get that benefit to it. Or worse, they go to places like China or like other countries that are completely unregulated, right? And could end up doing a lot more harm. And then, I get a lot of these experts that come in and talk to you and everything, and they really also try to convince you that there's almost this like modern arms race, right? If we are like putting a barrier on our whoever wins the war for AI is going to win and control global dominance for the next 40, 50 years. I don't know, but maybe. But I don't know. I mean, it's pretty out there, but what do I know, right? And so you're trying to walk that line of, okay, well, do we want to have things, evolve, unimpeded, so that we are staying the best in class, or do we actually need to step in here and sort of provide some of these safeguards? The answer is both to some degree, and we're trying to figure that out. Yeah.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
We're never going to get away without us asking about banning child marriage.
I've been a co-author on that bill. So yes, we'll see. I know that my colleague to the north in Orange County, Assemblywoman Petrie Norris, has been working on that issue. I know she introduced the bill last year. I guess I just didn't see it make it to the floor.
I don't think it made it to the floor, but
Okay.
you're seeing something on the horizon for 2026, maybe?
I'll talk to her for sure. And it's something I've supported and co-authored in the past.
Wonderful. Well, we appreciate your time so much.
I appreciate your time. Thank
We
you all
thank
very
you.
much. Have a good evening, and I'll see you all soon.
Assemblymember.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. All right. So we're going to go to candidate comments. If we have any candidates with us tonight or any candidates on the Zoom, now is the time for you to come up or raise your hand if you're on Zoom. Anybody on there? All right. Any elected officials or their representatives? Okay. Seeing none, we can go on to our next speaker. Oh, wait. Sure. But you want to do yours later at the end? Okay. All right. Let me put my glasses on so I can introduce this woman properly. Our next speaker is Andrea St. Julian. She's practiced law for more than 25 years, representing clients in the Federal Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, the U.S. Supreme Court, the California Court of Appeal, and the California Supreme Court. She has serves on the board of the ACLU of San Diego County and Imperial Counties, and she's the president and co-founder of the Justice Workshop. She's the original author of the proposed amendment to the San Diego City Charter that later became Measure B, serving a central role in the creation of independent, community-led commissions on police practice in the city of San Diego. Please welcome Andrea St. Julian.
Thank you, Kathy. All righty. Thank you for inviting me here. And I am here to talk about what we call choice voting. It's structural change that's going to make all of our votes count more. And I think that that's what we all want and need right now. So I am, as Kathy said, the co-founder of two organizations, San Diegans for Justice and the Justice Workshop. Before I go on and talk a little bit more, is anybody familiar with San Diegans for Justice? Or is anybody, Doug, of course, is. So both of our organizations, San Diegans for Justice, which is a political action committee, and our sister organization, the Justice Workshop, which is a nonprofit, we are community rooted. We're supported by and accountable to grassroots San Diegans. We are reform centered. And as Kathy mentioned, in 2020, we placed a charter amendment on the ballot to create the Commission on Police Practices, which passed with nearly 75% of the vote. We are above all accountability focused. And that's why we're advancing choice voting, because we want to make local government more responsible and accountable to the community. Unfortunately, our local government, City Hall, is often very unresponsive. San Diegans want and need safe streets, affordable housing, climate solution, and despite there being some proven models and clear public will, local government has failed to respond with effective policies and with implementation. And there are some examples. We have, Vision Zero that hasn't been implemented to the fullest extent that it should be. City Council has rolled back the ADU bonus program, and the city continues to underinvest in transit. Not great things, but even worse, we have a legacy of dysfunction and corruption here in San Diego. In 2024, $15 million in unauthorized spending by the mayor's office. Who can forget 2017 and 101 Ash, right? We have the Sun Road project and the legal high-rise approved. I could go on, and I think most of us of a certain age remember the pension fund scandal and it being underfunded. And it goes on. I could go back 40 years and more about the dysfunction, the corruption, and unfortunately the incompetence in much of our local government. Because of these things, I don't think any of you would be surprised to know that in a study, in a survey that we conducted with other organizations about a year and a half ago, 78% of San Diego voters believe that corruption is an issue in local government. 70% said people like them have little influence on city government. 60% believe the city is headed in the wrong direction. And 62% feel elections don't account for unrepresented communities. San Diego is dissatisfied, and they're dissatisfied for a lot of good reasons. And I started doing this deep dive after Measure B passed and all the difficulties with getting the commission up and running and the pushback that the city was giving. And it's like, how in the world can we elect officials who are going to push back on what 75% of community members said they wanted? I was like, how do they feel emboldened to do that, right? And so I started doing a deep dive and I came up with the answer. It's our voting system, okay? We have a voting system that incentivizes local officials to, in fact, work against us in some ways. I was at first totally embarrassed to learn this after doing research about this, because I thought, how did I not know this? You know, I had no idea that our voting system was structured in such a way that really hurt us. Then after that, I got mad. And then after that, I got kind of happy because I was like, we can do something about this. Okay. And so let's start out with some of the problems that are inherent in our voting system. Our voting system rewards special interests and big dollar donors. It encourages division and negative campaigning. It actually disempowers grassroots voters. It protects incumbents and entrenched power, and it fosters posturing over problem solving. Does any of that sound familiar to you? Okay. And the root cause of that is our voting system. There are other voting systems that incentivize electeds differently. Oh, okay. Let me go back to share screen, start broadcast. Okay. Okay. So, Choice San Diego for San Diego. How did we come up with choice voting? Well, we're very community driven, as some of you here know. So we always start with the community. We started having forums in different parts of the community. We had, I don't even know how many one-on-ones with people throughout the city. And we asked, what do you want to see in our local government? What do you think is wrong with our local government? How can we improve our local government? Okay. We took all this information that we gathered over nearly 3 years. And then we went to experts. We went to professors. We went to political science experts. We went to advocates. And we literally worked with experts from Ireland to Australia. And of course, attorneys and other advocates across the country to come up and shape choice voting. It took 9 months of putting pen to paper, but we did. And we came up with something that was designed to address the real needs identified by local San Diegans. Now, after we came up with this, even though we really put a lot of effort into it, we have it up on our website at thejusticeworkshop.org, but we still call it a draft because we want to give it back to the community, right? And say, okay, we talked to you, we listened to you, we put it all together, we got all the experts together. Now tell us what you think about it, okay? So it's on our website for everybody to see. What we came up with what is considered a gold standard. Choice voting is a combination of two things. It is a combination of ranked choice voting, and probably many of you have heard of ranked choice voting. Who's heard of ranked choice voting? Yeah. So a lot of people have heard of that. But it's also a combination with proportional representation. How many people have heard of proportional representation? Yeah, fewer. So the combination of the two together is known as proportional ranked choice voting, but that's a mouthful. So we call ours choice voting. Choice voting features. There are 3 main features of the choice voting that we've created for San Diego. First, you rank candidates by preference. And most people know that. Instead of just voting for one candidate, you say, this is my first choice, this is my second, this is my third. It also enlarges the city council. It creates 6 additional at-large council seats. And I'll explain that to you in detail in a minute. It also ends primaries. Primaries are just evil. I'm rarely this black and white in front of people, but primaries are just evil. And especially when you have a ranked choice voting feature, there is absolutely no need for primaries. With a primary, you've got a small sliver of the population voting, and they choose who the rest of us vote for in the general. Primaries front load things for incumbents. It's one of the things that keeps incumbents in power when they shouldn't remain in power. So we get rid of primaries completely. And also primaries are expensive and quite frankly, a waste of time for voters. And so we just totally get rid of it. So let me talk about proportional representation and these 6 additional at-large city council members. What we do is we're going to keep the existing 9 district-based council seats, okay? Community members fought really hard for for different districts, for the district representation, and we're keeping that. We listened to community members who said, nope, don't touch our districts. We want to keep our districts. So we are. And we're going to have 1 member from each district. But then on top of that, we're going to have 6 at-large city council members. So all 6 are going to be voted in by the entire city. And this has amazingly positive effects. One of the things I heard, particularly for people who worked with the city, they said, you know, one of the problems we have in the city is that each of the district council members, they vote for what's in the best interest of their district, but there's nobody to vote for the interests of the entire city. And that's having a deleterious effect on the city. So it's like, okay, so we'll consider that. But this is really the best thing about having 6 at-large members. They're voted in all at the same time using ranked choice voting. Everybody only gets 1 vote. You don't get 6 votes, you just get 1. What that means is an at-large city council member can win with only 14% of the vote plus 1. This means additional communities and values get represented on the city council because you only need 14% plus 1 to get on the city council. And again, you only have 1 vote. So it's not like you can vote for a whole lot and get a whole lot of people. No, everybody's vote is only going to count once. Okay. That means we're going to be better represented. More of us will be represented before the city council. You will always have 1 city council member who represents your geography and another city council member. You have a great likelihood that another city council member will also represent your values. And that's why. Can I take questions when we're all done? Is that okay? I just want to make sure I get through it.
She's going to take questions at the end.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll take questions at the end. So we maintain strong neighborhood representation, but also representation in for values. This makes our council more representative. And also, if you look at the number of city council members that we have here in San Diego, we have the second to worst ratio in the entire state. Okay, the ratio of city council members to residents and to voters is the second worst in the state. Only Los Angeles is worse. Okay, and cities across the country of similar size are all recognizing that voters are not properly represented because there are not enough city council members. Okay, San Diego has to recognize that. And let's be really honest, this will bring the city council up to 15. We actually still should have more representation. But in talking with people, 15 felt about right by most voters. But again, it's still not enough. And I was talking to someone who worked for the city, Joel Day, you may know him. If we had the same ratio of city council members to residents and voters that we had when the city council was first created, we would have 47 city council members. That's how far behind we are in representation. Okay. So, choice voting addresses the problems of our current system. It results in elected officials who better reflect San Diego's people, our values, our priorities, and it leads to better representation. Oh, I am so sorry. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Let me go here. Share screen, broadcast. Okay. Okay. So, choice voting also allows voting without settling for the lesser 2 evils. How many times have you wanted to vote for a candidate who you loved, but you didn't think had much of a chance of winning? And so you were afraid to vote for them. And so you've said, well, because if I vote for this person, that's going to be like giving my vote to the person I really hate. And I'm afraid that the person I hate is going to win if I vote for the person that I really love. So you vote for someone else who you think is a safer choice, who has more of a chance of winning. You will never have to do that with choice voting ever again, because if your first choice has absolutely no way of winning, if they do a first tally of the votes and your first choice didn't win, your vote automatically moves to your second choice. You will never have to vote for the lesser of two evils again. It boosts voter participation by eliminating the primary. Instead of having a tiny sliver of people deciding who's going to go into the general, everybody can vote in the general. And so we have more people who are actually electing our officials. It strengthens electeds' accountability to the full community. As I was saying, when we get rid of primaries, we give, although certainly incumbents have the advantage of name recognition, the primary gives them enormous advantages because they have an early lead, and it's harder for challengers to catch up by the time of the primary, but they have much more of a runway by the time of the general election. The best thing is it also encourages positive campaigning. I want to give an example. I was with a delegation of 40 people, not this summer, but summer before last, looking at the elections in in Ireland. And Ireland has a voting system very similar to choice voting. There were a group of people all running for a body that was like a city council. 3 of these people were women. One of the women got sick and she couldn't campaign for herself, right? What would have happened here? She would have had to drop out of the race, you know? But you know where I'm going on this. What did the other 2 women in that race do? They went out and campaigned for her, okay? That is the power of choice voting. And let me tell you how you do that, okay? The 2 women went out and said, listen, I want you to vote for me for number 1, but I want you to vote for this woman as my number 2, as your number 2, all right? And think of it in the opposite way, okay? If I came to your door and I was canvassing and I said, oh, everybody else is trash, I'm the only person you should vote for. What are you going to do? You're going to think, you know what? I really like this other person. I'm going to put them as 1 and all these other people as 2, 3, 4. You are going to be last on my list, if at all. Mom Donnie was a beautiful, beautiful example of that. So what is all of this? You know, it sounds like it's so much, you know? What does it mean? Is it complicated? No, it's easy. From the perspective of the voter, it's really as easy as 1, 2, 3. Okay. You just rank which candidate, who's your first choice, who's your second, who's your third, and on down the line. That's it. But it has such power. There are 63 jurisdictions nationwide who have voting systems similar to choice voting. Here are a few that have very similar voting systems to choice voting. Portland, Oregon, very, very similar. Minneapolis, Cambridge, Albany, California, and others that are kind of similar but a little less, like San Francisco, Oakland, New York City, and the states of Alaska and Maine. Mom Donnie is a beautiful example, right? Cuomo had 15 times more money. He was backed by all of the establishment political figures. But because of ranked choice voting, people were not afraid to vote for Mom Donnie. They didn't feel like they might be throwing away their vote if they vote for him, because they knew if I vote for him for number 1 and he's not going to win, they've calculated the votes, then my vote is going to move to my second choice. So my vote is never thrown away. That is the power. And you know, don't think about what you think about Mom Donnie. If you don't like him, that's not the point. The point is that it allowed voters to vote how they wanted without being afraid of throwing away their vote. There are more jurisdictions who are looking to adopt similar reforms. In California alone, all of these cities have movements to bring voting methods similar to choice voting to their jurisdiction. So how do we get there? We get there through a petition, a citizen's petition. No, we are not going to go through the city council. That would, I actually, I want to make sure this does get on the ballot. And so it's going to have to be by a petition. It's going to be on 2028 ballot. And what we are doing is we have several stages, okay? And right now, over the next 2 years, we are collecting what we call signups. So we are asking everyone we come in contact, everyone in this room, please go online and please sign up so that we can let you know when the petition becomes available at the end of 2027. What we're working for is to make sure we have enough people ready to sign that petition at the end of 2027 so that we can get it signed immediately. And you're thinking, why would you do that? Well, I will tell you one reason. Do you know how much it costs to do signature gathering? Does anybody know what the current rate is per signature? Oh, that's would be so lovely. Well, how much? $24. It is $24 per signature, which would be like 6 million or 5-6 million, something like that. But if over the next 2 years as a grassroots organization, we have people sign up so that everybody's ready to go as soon as, that petition drops, we'll be good to go. This is for all of us. We 100% need you. We need everybody to be on board. I am not a football fan, but there is a quote by Vince Lombardi that I love. Individual commitment to a group effort. That is what makes a team work, a company work, a society work, and a civilization work. And that is no less true with choice voting. It will take all of us working together to do that. We would love the Women's Democratic Club to sign on as an official supporter of choice voting. And all that means is we can put your name and your logo up on our website as an official supporter. You don't have to do anything else. I am sure everyone here is involved with other organizations. We would really appreciate it if you would ask us to come and speak to your organizations. We would love to do that. I'd really love it if everyone here went onto our website, thejusticeworkshop.org, and it is justiceworkshop.org, and sign up so that we can let you know when the petition is available for signing. We are also looking for volunteers. And of course, donations are always welcome and they are tax deductible. Now, I would love to take questions.
Yes, with all due respect.
Yeah.
I have been behind these kinds of movements and they all lead to nothing.
Yeah.
Because as a Democrat, I know that the unions, for example, and we have a number of corrupt unions led by corrupt officials.
Yeah.
And we vote for their candidates. And why? Because the unions financially back a particular candidate, has been the case.
Yeah.
And then the second point I would make is whether we have 5 supervisors or 9 so-called city council person or 15 or 20 or 25.
Yeah.
Are you going to pay each one of them $137,000 a year plus retirement and a car allowance and a staff of 5 people?
Well,
that's a question.
Yeah. So, I want to answer them in order. And I'm sorry, your first question again was?
Basically, can we afford the democracy?
Yeah, but your first controls everything, so no change, nothing is going to do. Okay. And the labor, the Democratic Party serves nothing. Mom Donnie, okay? Choice voting because people ask me, it's like, so why do we take money? It's more money. He had all of the standard support, but Mom Donnie still won because choice voting made that money less powerful. Okay. That is incredibly important. Okay. Now the money. Yeah. Yeah. Thank goodness we're going to save some money by getting rid of the primaries, right? So we're going to save some money there. Yes, if I can finish. Okay. So we will have to pay them more each of them a salary. They will have to have a budget. Couple things. One, you can decide what their budget is. You can change their budget. You can reduce their budgets if you want, and if you see that they are bloated. But what is the cost of democracy? And you know, I'm being absolutely sure about that, because this is the other question I ask you. Going down that line, let's get rid of 5 city council members. Let's get rid of 5. Do you know how much money we'd save if we got rid of 5? Is that because we can change this charter amendment. Should we decide that we should only have 5 charter members? And that's not a rhetorical question. Should we reduce it to 5? Should we reduce it to 5 city council members? No, it's not rhetorical. Should we do that?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
No one can hear you on Zoom if you don't have your microphone. No, sir, I'm sorry.
Okay.
There are people online that are listening. They can't hear if you don't have a microphone. And we thank you for your comments. Go ahead and finish answering and we're going to move on.
So the real question is, what do we need to best serve the interests of San Diegans? How do we address the corruption that you've identified? Give up and say, oh, it's corrupt, we're just going to leave it the way it is? No, we have to look at how to change this and how to address this. Choice voting is used in jurisdictions, not just in the United States, but throughout the world. It is considered the gold standard. 200 political scientists and Nobel Prize winners wrote an open letter to the United States Congress in 2023, telling them that proportional representation is the gold standard of representation. All right? We need to do something. We can't just sit around. Please.
Good evening, Miss Julian. Currently, electeds within our party, and I imagine the other side as well, find themselves very invested in clamoring for friendly incumbent endorsements.
Exactly.
And we know that the party system as it exists practices the friendly incumbent endorsement, which a number of us believe disenfranchises newer candidates who might consider coming into a race and challenging them. Do you believe that this system will find a way to mitigate that practice? And how likely would we be able to implement that were we to get this passed with a ballot measure?
Yeah. Well, if it passed in a ballot measure, choice voting would be implemented. And absolutely, it takes away a lot of the power of an incumbency. Okay. And in part by getting rid of primaries, and also in part through ranked choice voting, where people feel comfortable not having to vote for their safe choice. You can vote for this newcomer as your first choice, and then the incumbent maybe is your second or third choice. You know you're not wasting your vote. You know, right now, if you vote for somebody and they lose, you're done. Your vote didn't count for a single thing. Okay? When your vote can move based on who is winning or not going to win, your vote counts more. You know, so yeah.
I think that the man over here has a point.
Sure.
In that the different labor unions have invested huge amounts of money actually getting, I think it's about 2/3 of the representation on the San Diego County Central Committee elected.
Yeah.
So it is, and I think they invested a lot of money in the Republicans. So it's really hard for grassroots,
Yeah.
for those of us who are not incumbent to someone to actually get anything done. But I think that the point is, all right, I have friends, I have people that I tell them, do not vote for the person on the endorsed door knocker. Heather Ferbert is a good example. Heather was not endorsed by the county party. I think that with this kind of voting, I think that people will be more invested in actually going outside of endorsed candidates. And that are endorsed by the party, and actually maybe looking at them a little bit deeper and taking a chance on someone that they might not have done otherwise, and then maybe taking that endorsed party, because people tell me, oh, I'm a good Democrat. If the Democrats have endorsed that person, then that's how I'm going to vote, straight down the ticket. But I think that there might be some chance that they won't do that.
You are exactly right, Susan. That people do feel freer to vote who they want to. And another thing is splitting votes. You don't have to worry about, right? Two Democrats are running, one Republican is running. The two Democrats split the votes, and the Republican wins. That won't happen. That can't happen under choice voting. Yes.
Yeah, I really wanted to thank you for being here and for giving this presentation and for all the work that you have obviously put into this. It's really super appreciated.
Thank you.
And the fact that you're changing the system and not just, working on one micro issue or something is really commendable. And I really thank you for that.
Thank you.
So my question for you is this, is that, ranked choice voting certainly is better than what we've got. But it seems to me that star voting, which I'm guessing you probably took a look at too,
Of course.
would be like even better.
Okay.
And I mean, I would love to give Lori Saldana a 5, and Gavin Newsom a 2, and JD Vance a big fat 0 in the presidential election coming up.
Yeah.
And I think we could get Lori in the White House.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're not the first person to ask me that. So just to let you know that I will I'll just give you the one bottom line. Okay. Well, no, actually I'll start a little bit further back. Star voting is a heck of a lot better than the system that we have now. If star voting were on the ballot, I'd vote for star voting. I personally do believe that choice voting, which is ranked choice voting and proportional representation, I personally do believe that it is better. And a lot of people believe it's better for some reason. But this is the bottom line. The voting machines here in California aren't configured for star voting. So one of the ways when we crafted the proposed charter amendment, we had to know we've got Dominion machines. We had to know what Dominion machines did and didn't do, so we could make sure that the charter amendment could be used, the choice voting could be used. Star voting is not there. So it's not really, so the bottom line is not, star voting is not going to be on the ballot because, it can't be used by our machines. And if we're going to talk about how much it would cost, I mean, that would be millions and millions and millions of dollars to get totally new machines for star voting. So that's the simple answer.
Thank you so much for being with us, Andrea.
Thank you.
It was a wonderful presentation. I'm curious, does the club feel comfortable making a motion to sign on to ranked choice voting, lending them our logo and so forth? Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded that we lend our logo. Is there any discussion? Is there any objection? So we have one objection.
How do you envision, so if we pass this proposal, how do you envision our club logo being incorporated into what type of promotion?
It would be on a list of other supporters. You'd be, listed with Fair Vote National, who's an official supporter, Rank the Vote, who's a national supporter, San Diego Progressive Democratic Club, who's a supporter. We would put a list, and that's how your name and logo.
We have someone on Zoom who wanted to speak. Go ahead,
Please.
Anne.
Hi, thank you. Yes, I actually had a question prior, so I don't know if I'm allowed to ask it now or not.
Of course, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. With regard to not having any primaries, I guess one concern I have is how are we going to properly vet candidates? Would we need to pass more requirements for candidates to qualify to run? Part of the primary process is vetting, and that's one concern I have. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And that was something, of course, we very, very seriously looked at. We wanted to make sure that we didn't have like 1,000 people running in a general election. So we looked at the qualifications, and actually San Diego already has pretty good qualifications for who can run for a city office. It's a combination of paying a certain fee and then also getting a certain number of signatures. And so we looked at other jurisdictions and where they were at, and we felt pretty comfortable that the requirements that we have in San Diego will ensure that an appropriate number of people run. Now, in terms of vetting, the vetting process is really not that different in terms of everyone. We all do our research during the primaries, and we'll also do the research at the general. You'll in fact have a longer period of time to do your research on all of the candidates before the primaries. And you also have to understand another term for ranked choice voting is instant runoff. Because of the ranking of the votes, that instantly analyzes who is going to be elected in a similar manner to what the primaries do. So once you have ranked choice voting, there is 100% no need for a primary. It is simply a waste of everyone's time and money.
All right, we do have a motion on the floor. Elise, do you have something you wanted to say?
Hello, Elise.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
I'd like to know, hi Andrea, how you doing?
Hi, Elise.
I'd like to know what other organizations are supporting this.
What other organizations are supporting this? That was the question?
Mhm.
Yeah, I named a few. We have we have Fair Vote National. We have, and now I'm going to forget all of them. We have Rank the Vote, which is national. We also have Cal RCV, which is a statewide organization. We have ProRep, which is a statewide organization. We have the San Diego Progressive Democrats, who are also here. We have the Racial Justice Coalition, which is here in San Diego. And I am forgetting the other ones. Oh my gosh. I think there's at least one more.
Yeah, that's enough.
Is that enough? Okay, I'm sorry. I haven't committed them to memory yet. And we are just beginning the sign-on process. There are others who we just haven't officially, gotten to them yet, but who I'm sure will also.
All right, so I'm going to call the vote again. Are there any objections to us signing on to ranked choice voting as we learned about tonight? Any objections? All right, it looks like we will be signing on and lending you our logo.
Thank you.
And let's thank her for being with us tonight. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you.
Thank you. I so much appreciate this.
Andrea, I would suggest on your webpage that you put who has endorsed you.
Oh, yes, we will. We will.
All right. Okay, we're going to move on to the next item on our agenda, which is the nominating committee. So in February, we have officer positions coming open. We have, let me see if I can do it from memory, the external vice president, the treasurer, and the director of communications are all coming up vacant. A couple of those positions have said they will stay on if nobody else steps forward, but they will also be happy to have new leadership come into position. So because that election is going to be held in February, what we do in October is put together a nominating committee. The nominating committee goes out and finds candidates to fill the officers' positions. So what I'm asking tonight is if anybody is willing and able to be on the nominating committee and would like to raise their hand to volunteer for that tonight. Are you a member, sir?
Castro.
Richard Castro. Anybody else? Susan, are you nominating yourself? Susan Pinato? Anybody else nominated? Lori Saldana? That's 3. There are 3 spots. Is there anyone else who would like to? Pat has done it for the past. Oh, Danny, you would like to? You can nominate somebody. Angela?
Ye-
Okay, so
Me,
John, how are we
Angela,
going to go
me?
about?
Me, Angela?
There are 3 slots, so now we have 4 names. Elise,
Yeah,
did you want to speak?
no, I just want to volunteer.
Oh, and Elise Pipkin Allen. So far we have for the committee, we've got Angela, we've got Lori, we've got Elise, we've got Susan, and we've got Richard. John's going to help me right now. Oh, you want to do ranked choice voting? Well, wow, I wasn't expecting to get so many people raising their hands. And this is a dilemma that you're going to do that? Okay. Are you going to make a ballot? Yeah. Okay, John's going to create the ballot. Meantime, I want to point out to you that there are postcards, addresses, and stamps on the tables. If you've filled those out, bless you. These have to be mailed tomorrow. So if you don't write these out, then I'm going to be up tonight writing postcards. So please, there's 4 or 5 names on each slip. And if you can each take a couple and write the postcards, it would be really wonderful. Next on the agenda is business, unfinished. Is there any unfinished business anybody wants to touch base on? And new business. Does anybody have new business? Ooh. Danny, are you off your meeting, ready to talk? So earlier on the agenda, we had representatives of elected officials, and we do have a representative here tonight for one of our supervisors. And so take it away, Danny. Oh, it's on the agenda.
All right. Hey, everyone. So, just letting everyone know, I'm not here in any official capacity, just here as a volunteer, letting people know that you have some representation in Paloma Aguirre's new office. So I am very excited to be serving as one of the community representatives for the office. And so if you guys ever need anything for the office, let me know. A lot of you guys already know me. You guys know I'm totally accessible and working on getting those problems solved. I did wanted to announce 2 events that we're going to be doing. So we're going to be doing an open house. We're opening up our district office right there by the Palomar trolley station, and we're going to be doing that on the 25th. We're going to be doing that from, I believe, 10 to 12. And yeah, please come on by. It's this Saturday. We're going to have some pan dulce. We're going to have some coffee, show you guys the office and how easy and accessible it is. So please do come on by. I can always send more information and the flyer to Kathy. I was hoping that I had some, but I don't think I do. And then the other thing is we're holding an amazing community event. It's for Dia de los Muertos. And that's for, you guys don't know, it's for Day of the Dead, which we traditionally celebrate as within the Latino community. On the 1st of November. And we are inviting all of the clubs and all members of the community to come down to the county administration building on the East Plaza side. So like right in front of Jack in the Box, where the county building is. And we're going to be doing that from 4 to 7. We're going to be doing mariachi. We're going to have kids coming out doing some baile folclórico. We're going to be doing like arts and crafts for the kids, food trucks. The library, the county library will be there giving away stuff. We're going to have an amazing time. The Mexican consulate's going to be there. We're going to have a great time and lots of good fun. So please don't come on. That's the 1st and from 4 to 7 o'clock at the county administration building. All right, cool.
If you shoot me a text,
Yeah.
I can put it in the email that I send out on Wednesday and everybody will have it in their email box.
Perfect. Just think if there's anything else, and I don't think so. But if there is, I will text you guys.
Did you say any?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Sorry. The address of the office.
I'll get it to you right now. I have to look it up. It's the HSI building, though. I'll get it right now. It's on Oxnard. Yeah. I'll get it to you right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. We appreciate you keeping us updated. Back to the topic of officer elections. On our next meeting, I'm going to go ahead and put the job descriptions on the agenda so everybody could read the job descriptions. But it's the external vice president, the director of communications, and the treasurer. Those are the 3 offices that are coming open. I just want to encourage you that if you're new to the club and you think you might not be ready to step into leadership, go ahead and take the leap. When I became secretary of the club, I just raised my hand and Susan picked me and I didn't know anything about anything. I learned everything as I was going and I learned so much and I was so grateful for the opportunity to not only help out and volunteer, but also the knowledge that I gained. So yeah, don't be shy. You're ready to lead. You really are. And those of us that have been in the club for a decade, the club's 10, the club's 12. Yeah, we would really appreciate some new energy coming in to leadership. So take it to heart and consider it, and we'd really appreciate having your involvement. So we're going to go on to officer reports right now. I'll go first. We had a great time at I won't say a great time. We had a successful time at the march on Saturday. I think next time, rather than marching, we might opt to do a booth, so that people can march by us and instead of us marching in with the masses. And then hopefully that would give us more exposure as a club and maybe get some more members. So, oh, thank you, Pat. So yeah, I think next time we're going to put up a table and a tent and do that rather than actually carrying the banner and marching. Let's see. We have an app. If you want to get all notifications for the club and meetings, links, you name it, download our app from your Android store or your Apple store, and you will get all of your DWC information right there. I want to thank John and Hannah and Nick and Susan for doing the tech stuff, as always. It's part of my officer report. We could not do these hybrid meetings without this great team. All right, let's move on to the other officers. Susan, do you have anything to report? Susan is our external vice president.
We just got a notice during the meeting from one of our members, Dad Schlothe, that the San Diego City Council unanimously gave tentative support to an ordinance today intended to prevent local law enforcement from joining certain federal task force. In other words, our local law enforcement is prohibited from working with federal, like ICE. So I thought that was
Great. And then our internal vice president, Amber, do you have a report? Nothing from Amber. Hannah is our secretary. Do you have a report? Do you not? Over here, we have our wonderful membership director, Patricia. Do you have a report?
Yes, just for Beatrice and I, if you pay your dues starting now, correct? It applies and covers you till the end of 2026.
We have almost $3,000 in the bank at the moment. 3,000. 3,000.
Beatrice is our treasurer. These two women, they do so much work and without any real recognition. So I want to say how much I appreciate both of you. Thank you so much. All right, John, how are we doing on our ballot? So that's officer reports. And that takes us on to announcements. Does anybody have any other announcements besides? Did you have something, Delphina?
I have an ask. Something that's concerning that is happening, and we've mentioned it today in regards to it in the Democratic Party. I ask if you guys are able to join our Central Committee meeting that's happening tomorrow that's related to all of our county. And the reason is that there's still some strongholds, there's some things that are happening that I have discovered internally that the only way we could stop this is by being able to be present, by being able to witness it, and being able to hold accountable those that are allowing the pettiness or allowing certain actions that have been happening in years past to still continue. So this is very important as a party, even if you're not a voter, just attend to witness it. Just be able to see that what we're discussing today is not just a certain, just one election. It is happening throughout the city, through the county, and it is very important that many people watch and witness and are able to hold accountable our elected officials. Thank you.
If you are interested in, it's tomorrow night. If you're interested in attending the Central Committee meeting as a guest, I can send you a link for that. Well, guests are welcome. You are not able to speak except for during public comment, which is usually at the top of the meeting. They do have public comment for the first 30 minutes, I believe. All right. What was that? Oh, great. We have a couple more of our board members on Zoom. I saw we have Elise. She's our Community Relations Director. Miss Elise, do you have a report tonight or any announcement?
Well, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
It's not really a report. I just wanted to say that I have been working hard, hanging on door knockers and trying to influence Emerald Hills that they should be voting for Proposition 50. They should be voting yes. And I'm going to continue to do that and start phone banking at my home as soon as I get a list from Morale. And if anyone is interested in coming and helping phone bank in my garage, I'm losing my throat, I'd be happy to see you.
It sounds like you can use someone to help talk on the phone for sure.
Yeah.
All right. And we are doing our postcards too. And on that subject, there is a mega walk this Saturday. I'll send the information. I've already sent it out in previous emails, but I'll send it out again on Wednesday when I send the follow-up email for this meeting. If you want to sign up for the mega walk, the whole county party is going to be out in force this weekend on Saturday. All right. Is Angela DeJoseph still on the line? Angela?
I
is our-
am.
All right, Angela is our media director. Go ahead, Angela.
Well, good evening. And first of all, I wanted to thank the members who have volunteered. Oh, you want to see me? Start
you
my
wanna be
video. I've
seen?
been asked to start my video. I wanted to, first of all, I wanted to thank the members who have come out and volunteered for the Women of Color Royal Leadership Academy. And we had a record amount of young girls that signed up to participate in this last academy. We had 90 girls, and and it's turning out to be something that they need. They need a place where they can come and they can learn about civic engagement and have an opportunity to learn leadership skills. And we did, as a matter of fact, we did take a group up to Sacramento, and Chris Ward was wonderful enough to actually show them around and take us to on the assembly floor. And we got to go visit the Senate, and we got to see the Secretary of State in her office and in her building. And it's so important that we invest in the next generation. And so I wanted to just start off by saying that, we really appreciate those of you that stepped up and are volunteering. Our next one will be May 13th, 2026. But I have started and have new enthusiasm for the radio show that I'm doing on KNSJ. And I've been interviewing a lot of the elected officials. As a matter of fact, our newest supervisor has been on, Monica has been on. And then recently, actually, we had the head of UDW on. We had the controller of the Democratic Party, Carolyn Fowler, was a guest on the show. So we have been talking about the issues that are important. And the current media is failing us, and we're not getting the truth, and we're not getting the whole story. And so local community media is very important. So the show is airing on KNSJ 89.1 FM in San Diego, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m., Monday at 1 p.m., Thursdays at 5 p.m., and it's also streams on the internet. And then I am also posting the videos up on Facebook. So I just want to encourage everyone to tune in and listen to the show, and then also let me know if there are guests that you feel we should have on the show and conversations. Obviously, tonight I thought it was great information from Andrea St. Julian that we need to have. But I want to make that available, that, we have an opportunity to reach out. It's one thing that you can talk to people one-on-one, but when you have media, you have masses and you can reach more people. So I just want to encourage the Democratic Women's Club to utilize that opportunity to share information that's important to our members.
Thank you so much, Angela. I appreciate you being with us tonight. All right. So Danny has handed me a flyer for every Thursday, ICE out of San Diego rally at the Federal Building, 10 a.m. San Diego's weekly stand for democracy. And so if you're available during the day on Thursday at 10 a.m., head down to the Federal Building and make a stand for that. John, how are we doing on that ballot? Okay, so if you want to check your email for a ballot. Did anybody get a ballot? I didn't get one. So it's like they're loading. So check your email, see if you have your ballot. And you're voting for
Yes, I should remember that. Yeah, you can pick 3 candidates. When you get the ballot, you can either drag and drop them on your phone in ranked choice order, or if you only want to vote for one, you can just vote for one and then vote for no position for the others. Oh, the subject line of the email.
Of nomination committee.
There you go.
John, I haven't gotten a ballot.
Yeah, yeah, okay. The other way I could text it to people. Is another way to do it. Yeah, it could be an email. Yeah, so far.
John, should we just tabulate this and then send it out in the follow-up email, or do?
Yeah, it's the same system we've used for the last 5 years on your phone. Sure, but can you join the Zoom and show? Oh, okay.
So Beatrice is saying you need to drag the name over.
On your phone, yeah, or
Okay,
iPad.
I've got mine.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Are people still voting?
Yeah, yes, I was trying to figure out how to vote, so I think
So you drag the name, the 3 names that you would like on the nominating committee, you drag those 3 names to the over to the right, and then you click that you're done. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much if you're doing postcards. I really appreciate it. My last 50. Okay, I think most of them got written. Oh, you have some.
Kathy,
Yes.
I
Elise.
wanted to remove my name since you had too many.
The ballot already went out, but Elise is asking
Really?
you not to vote for her.
it's too late.
It's too late, Elise. You're on the ballot.
I have so much stuff that I'm doing now. And I trust all of the people who are going to be on the committee.
Okay, John, I'm waiting for the high sign from you when to call it. Who else has postcards for me that are done? Thank you. Yeah, I'll pick those up too. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Doug, you want to tell us a little bit about next month's meeting that you're going to speak on?
Well, I'm going to do a presentation on the Commission on Police Practices, which was mentioned. And we'll be talking about what the commission is doing and where we stand in terms of a full implementation and some of the issues working on. And so looking forward to doing that presentation. And am I the only presenter next month or? Okay.
You're the only presenter, but we're also going to do endorsements. So we need to get the endorsements done for City Council District 8 in time to vote in the area. So we're going to do that endorsement. At least that's tentatively what we have planned, and then your presentation. So yeah, we look forward to that. And we haven't done endorsements in person for a while, so that'll be a great experience for us to do next meeting in November. Go ahead, John.
We need more chairs.
Okay. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, is there anybody in the room then who didn't get a ballot who would like to get one? Might be quicker if you want to walk over here to me, I can either text them to you, might be quicker. Because they've now all gone out by email. Patricia, yeah. Yeah.
John is going to help these last few folks that need help, and then we're going to call the vote. Did you refresh?
Okay, that's good.
The Mariners lost? Oh. Oh, Canada. It'd be funny if Canada won the World Series. Oh, that'd be awesome.
They won.
They have? Will be funny if they beat us. A Canadian team wins the World Series. Oh, the Mariners, the Hartford. I know. I was rooting for the Mariners. Darn it. Thank you for your patience. We have a few more people to get their votes in. Yeah, just to repeat what Patricia said, if you do join now, your dues are paid all the way through 2026, and everybody's dues are coming up again in January. But if you're not a member and you join today, your dues are good all the way through next year. And if you renew today, they're good all the way through next year. Thank you. Thank you so much. John, a bottle of Prosecco for this. Did you get yours? Yes, thank you. You're welcome. Yay, all these postcards. Thank you so much. We have 50 postcards to mail. That's awesome. Bye. Okay, John is tabulating. Well, you are tabulating now. I'm not wrong. Patricia? I don't see her. Oh, there's her. Pat. Did you get your ballot?
Yes, and I heard that.
Thank you all for your patience. We're almost there. What? We're there? Thank you so much for coming in person. That's fine. Thank you.
I want to be home by 9 o'clock.
Yeah, get on the road.
Thank you. I know.
That was good.
I want the feedback on that.
I got you.
I got to remember it. There it is. We've been doing that at the beginning of every meeting.
The three-finger thing?
No, just some sort of a mindfulness
Oh, that's
exercise.
very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people seem to like it.
Yep. Never would have thought that'd be a sleep thing.
I know. Yeah, our bodies are weird.
I mean, the three finger thing,
Yeah.
I guess, is sleep.
Yeah.
I know, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, this takes it.
Yeah.
Everyone else get it? Thank
All those who wish to vote, please vote. All those who wish to vote, please vote. All those who wish to vote, please vote. Yes. Okay, John, what do we got? I'm so sorry. I did not anticipate five people raising their hand. Like the past 2 years, we've only had one person.
Literally. I'm like,
We had to beg Pat.
Yeah, we have the.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for your patience. The winners tonight are Susan Peinado, Laurie Soldania, and Angela Hawkins.
Lori, Susan, and Angela. The three of you are responsible for recruiting and finding us some fresh leadership. Susan, Angela, and Lori. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your patience. I didn't expect to get 5 people. Otherwise, I would have had the voting thing figured out in advance. Thank you so much. The meeting is adjourned. Please have a safe drive home, and we'll see you soon.